it's Michelle Teberge, and this is a video showing you a technique using string gel and interference paints. If you look up closely, you can see the interference color in between the string gel, and I'll show you how to do all the layers to get that effect.
Okay, so this is step 2. Step 1 was, if you watched the other video, just taking the clear string gel and dripping or stranding it over a painted background. So I painted the background of the canvas red, and then I took the clear string gel, no color added, and I dripped it, and then I let it dry. So now it's totally dry, and I have this textured surface, and you can see all the lines in there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to rub some color on top. And again, I'm using the inks because it's really fluid and easy to do this technique with. So I'm taking this is a magenta color. None of this is premeditated. I'm just trying different things. And I'm going to brush it all over here. And I have some heavy body colors, which is the thicker paint in the tube. I'm going to use a little bit of that for fun. And I'm just kind of scrubbing it in. I'm trying to get it in the lower areas, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to wipe it off of the higher areas with a dry rag. So I want to reveal, I think I'm going to use, for the sake of the video, a more contrasting color. I like the subtlety of this, but I don't think it's going to show up too well. So I'm going to go in and use like a purple-blue mixture. But what's happened is the color has stayed in the lower areas, and I've wiped the color off the raised areas so you see the red through. But because subtlety might not show up too well, I'm going to try it with some purple and blue, and it'll look a lot more dramatic for you guys. Okay, and again, I'm just using my brush to kind of scrub it in all over. Okay, now I'm going to take the same dry rag, let's find a clean spot on there, and I'm going to wipe away. Now you don't want to press too hard, you're just wiping the raised areas. You see what happened there? So the purple, just sort of hints of the purple are staying in the lower areas, but the raised areas are still red because there's the clear. It's almost like in textiles when they do batik, it's almost like a resist type of thing that's happening here. And I'm going to, so that feels good enough to me. Again, it's just really light touch. I'm not going in because otherwise I could rub off the color that's in between that I want to keep. And I like, especially when it pools and emphasizes all those what we call negative shapes in the composition, the space in between where the string gel was applied. So it's bringing that out. I'm going to let this dry, and then we're going to put some iridescent paint on top. So there it is. Step 2. Okay, so this is the third step. I'm going to add the layer of interference or iridescent color on top. I have a bunch of different colors. I have interference blue. This is gold. I have an iridescent pearl. I think I'm going to try the red on this one. I'm sort of just going on gut instinct here. So what I do is I squeeze some out. Maybe this one hasn't been opened yet. Sorry about that. It's a brand new one. All right, so I'll put a little out there, and I'm going to use a stiff bristle brush, to really rub it in to all the nooks and crannies. And we're doing the same thing we did last time. We're going to wipe it off of the raised areas, so it's only going to be in the lower areas. So if you don't like what you did when it's still wet, you can spray it and basically erase. That's the cool thing about acrylics, is it erases when it's still wet. So I just took a rag and wiped it all off. I actually wiped off what was underneath because I hadn't given it enough time to dry, but that's okay. Just for the purposes of demonstration here. So I'm going to go back in. I did actually like it, but I wanted to show you, people get a little nervous of trying things out, so I always like you to know that there is an out. If you don't like it, you can undo it. And just show wiping this away. And so that iridescent, and then the color underneath sort of contrasts really sharply against the red. This one's more dry, so we're going to do one on this board just to show you a little better. So this one is another one that I prepared. Originally had sort of a aqua blue underneath, or kind of a phthalo blue, I guess. Then I dripped the clear string gel. So you're seeing the color underneath when you look at the string gel. The string gel is not tinted blue. You're just seeing what was underneath it. Then I rubbed the greens and so forth in, like you saw in the last step, and now I'm going to add the iridescent part. And because this is kind of more of a blue palette, I think I'll use the interference blue for this. So let me clean my brush off a little. I'm going to squeeze it on the palette. This one might need a little, the golden version is a lot more fluid. So I'm hoping it'll work. I've mostly done it with Liquitex. Let's just do a little test, a little wipe to see. It's a lot more subtle. So I think I'll try it with Liquitex and see if I get a different effect. So I'm gonna just squeeze some of the Liquitex. You see how that's much thicker? So I think for this technique, it might work a lot better. So I'm gonna brush this on here. Okay, so I'm going to take, again, a soft cotton rag and just lightly wipe the top, the raised areas, leaving the interference blue in the lower areas. And I can even just use a little bit of water if I want to even, just especially these big areas. You see how that pulls out the color even more? Just being careful not to go in between, so that creates a little more of a contrast. And you can see that iridescent shimmer that you get in the lower areas contrasting with the original blue that's at the bottom of the canvas. I think I'll also try it with a warmer color. So I've got some of this interference red, and I'm just going to try that in here just for fun, just to see what happens. This is very subtle. Interference colors are super subtle. So this may not even show up that much on camera, not sure. I'm trying to angle it so we get a little more light on there. Just hopefully you can see some of this effect. And again, I'm going to wipe it. Wipe the raised areas, but not the lower areas. And yeah, I think that brings that out in a nice way. What do you think? I like it. So I can do that on the whole thing or on part of it or whatever, just sort of playing around, but it makes an interesting texture and effect. And there you are. String gel with interference color. Another project to try out, something to add into your creative grab bag. Have fun!